Hello everyone, peace be with you. I hope you're doing well. If you are fasting, I hope fasting has been going well for you. And if not, I invite you to Islam. I invite you to Islam. But I invite you as a brother in humanity. I don't invite you in that I want to indoctrinate you. I invite you as a brother in humanity. I invite you in the way that the prophets invited others to Islam. Islam meaning submission to God. Islam is an Arabic word meaning submission to God. It could be, you can use another word to refer to Islam. You could say one who submits, in the English language, for instance. That's all it means. You're not getting into an Arab's religion. But Muhammad was an Arab. Jesus was a Hebrew, but one of the children of Israel. But his language, nor Prophet Muhammad's language, so Prophet Jesus or Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon them both, neither of their languages is dominant. This is the correct view. So you're not going to enter an Arab's religion. In any case, we will begin with our program, which is pertains to the moon sighting. This particular, well, not just this one, but we're going to start doing shorter discussions, maybe 10 to 15 minutes, God willing. So sometimes we may go, I'm going to keep them at 15 minutes max. So anyway, so we spoke last time about if the moon is sighted during the day. We talked about if the moon is sighted by one person, what the rulings are. We saw different rulings depending on the scholars. So now we have a new issue. Before anything, I begin in the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. I praise and I glorify him as he ought to be praised and glorified. So let's begin. So now we find, we continue on with the matter of the moon. Scholars disagreed regarding certain questions related to the report of moon sighting. First, over the number of reporters whose report must be accepted. So the number of people who report that they saw the moon must be accepted. And then about their qualifications. So the number of people who sighted the moon and their qualifications. So what were these people's credentials? Can it just be anyone? Does it have to be a particular person who holds a certain, perhaps a certain, either legal status or status in knowledge? Let's see. Imam Malik said that it is not permitted to commence fasting or to cease fasting on the testimony of less than two trustworthy men. So Malik said, you can't start fasting, meaning Ramadan cannot begin, meaning you cannot start fasting for Ramadan, and you cannot end Ramadan except unless you have two trustworthy people. Two trustworthy people. No less, no more is necessary, but two at least. Okay? Al-Shafi'i, Imam al-Shafi'i, in a narration by Al-Muzani, said that fasting is to commence on the testimony of one man about sighting, but fasting is not to be stopped with the testimony of less than two men. So when you start, what one man says is fine. When you end, what one man says is not fine. You have to have two men at least. It doesn't mention anything about trustworthiness. So he just said, you hear it from two men, from one man the first time, you can fast. You hear it from one man the second time, you cannot break, meaning the time that when it's time to break fast. If it's one man that you heard it from, that Ramadan is over, I spotted the moon, you can't take his isolated testimony. It has to be two men. This was Imam Shafi'i's view. Abu Hanifa said that if the sky is overcast, the testimony of one person is accepted if the sky is overcast. So if you live somewhere where there's fog, let's say, or if there's just clouds in the sky, then one person's testimony is accepted, said Abu Hanifa. But if it is clear in a large city, only the testimony of a large number of persons is acceptable. So in a large city, if the sky is clear, only the testimony of a large amount of people is acceptable in a large city. Okay, it is also related from Abi Hanifa that he would accept the testimony of two morally upright persons when the sky was clear. Two morally upright people that are, they're morally upright, they pray, they're known to be noble, they're known to be honest. These such people, believers, their testimony is to be accepted. He says morally upright. I would assume that Islam is a condition. Why? Not because a Christian cannot be morally upright, but because a Christian or a Jew or anyone of another religion would be considered, by Islamic standards, is considered like he's missing that final piece of to complete him as a morally upright person. That's what it would mean. Okay, so let's see here. So yes, so two morally upright people is sufficient, according to another narration by Abi Hanifa. So one says large number of people in a city. The other one says that two people is sufficient. Noble, upright persons, morally upright persons. Okay, so when the sky is clear. Okay. It is related from Malik that he would not accept the testimony of two witnesses when the sky was overcast. Malik would not accept the testimony of two witnesses when the sky was overcast. They agreed that for breaking the fast, not less than two witnesses are acceptable. Not less than two witnesses are acceptable when breaking the fast. Except for Abu Thawr. Abu Thawr was someone who, he was a Shafi'i, but he was his own independent mujtahid as well. So his primary path, or his primary madhab, school of thought, was Shafi'i, but he held his own. He had his own point of view, his own path, his own. You could say madhab in that he had his own views. So he was a Shafi'i, but at the same time he had his own views. So, except for Abu Thawr, who did not make a distinction between fasting and breaking the fast, unlike a Shafi'i. So, for Abu Thawr, there was no difference, meaning that more than likely, one person suffices for either time, starting, breaking. Now, we're going to just touch on the reason for their disagreement. We won't go because I want to keep this short, so God willing. So the reason for their disagreement stems from the conflict of traditions, meaning narrations, traditions on the subject, and the vacillation of a tradition between falling under the category of testimony and the category conveying no stipulated number for witnesses. So vacillation meaning that the tradition would kind of like, it's swinging between falling under the category of testimony and the category conveying no stipulated number for witnesses, no number of witnesses. Let's go on to see what exactly we're talking about. The traditions include what has been related by Abi Dawood, most likely in his Sunan Abi Dawood, from Abdurrahman ibn Zayd ibn al-Khattab, that he addressed the people, Abdurrahman ibn Zayd ibn al-Khattab, that he addressed the people on a day of doubt, on a day of shak, on a day that people were not sure if it's, if I'm not mistaken, if Ramadan has started or not. And he said, I used to mix with the companions of the Messenger of Allah, God's peace and blessings be upon him, and asked them, so he was a tabi'i, and asked them, a follower of the companions, but likely never saw the Prophet, but he saw the companions, making him what is known as a tabi'i, follower. So he said that he asked them, and all of them related to me that the Messenger of God, God's peace and blessings be upon him, said, commence fasting on sighting it and cease fasting on sighting it. So when you see it, fast. When you see it again, next time, the new moon, stop fasting. That's what the narration said. If it is concealed from you, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, this is the narration. The tradition, meaning narration of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. In this case, if it is concealed from you, the moon, if it is concealed from you, then complete a period of 30 days. If 2 witnesses render testimony of sighting the moon, if 2 witnesses render testimony, commence fasting or cease fasting. This is what it says. The whole entire narration. So now we have been introduced to a new narration which includes number. We already knew about the moon and sighting the moon. We talked about, in general, you sighted the moon. If you're not sure, make an assessment. And then the other narration says, if you're not sure, if I'm not mistaken, complete 30 days. If you don't see the moon, so complete 30 days, meaning because 29 days is an average month, in the Arab calendar. But if the moon is not sighted, a 30th day comes into the picture. So they also include the tradition of Ibn Abbas, that he said a Bedouin came up to the Prophet. God's peace and blessings be upon him, and said, I sighted the moon tonight. So a desert Arab, Bedouin is a desert Arab, they're nomads. He said, I sighted the moon tonight to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. The Prophet said, do you testify that there is no God but God, and that Muhammad is his servant and messenger? He replied, yes. The Bedouin said, yes, I do testify this. The Prophet said, Bilal, announce to the people that they are to fast tomorrow. So, yes. So, do you see, the Prophet took the testimony of one witness, the Bedouin. So, he commanded Bilal ibn Rabah, they call him Bilal al-Habashi as well. So, Bilal was, he was the first mu'adhin. He got up on the roof of the Kaaba, if I'm not mistaken, and called the adhan. His mother, at least his mother, was from Habasha. Her name was, I believe it was, I think it was Zabiba. If not Zabiba, I think it was Zabiba. Anyway, so his mother was from Habasha. Habasha at that time was basically the Horn of Africa and basically East Africa. If I'm not mistaken, it was all known as Habasha. But the kingdom of Habasha was based in modern day Ethiopia, northern Ethiopia, Aksum in the Tigray region. So the Prophet told Bilal, announce that it's tomorrow we're fasting. Tomorrow's Ramadan. Based on whose testimony? The testimony of the Bedouin, the desert Arab, the nomad. The Prophet said, do you believe in God and that I'm the messenger? He said, yes. That's it. That was all he needed. He's one person. The Prophet himself took the word of that man. That's done deal. This is recorded by At-Tirmidhi, also in Sunan At-Tirmidhi, which is another book of hadith, narrations, who stated that there is a dispute about its isnad. There is a dispute about the chain of narration, as a group has reported it as mursal. Mursal means that it's it's disconnected. This chain is disconnected. Someone is narrating from someone that he never saw or never heard from, which is possible, by the way, not because you heard him, but because you heard someone say that that's someone. But the thing is, why isn't that someone you heard from mentioned? However, mursal can still be authentic. This is another study. It's another study. But in any case, let's continue. There is also the tradition of Rib'i ibn Khirash. Some say Hirash. There's a doubt here. Ibn Khirash, that is recorded by Abi Dawood. So Abi Dawood recorded another narration by Rib'i. From Rib'i ibn Khirash, from one of the companions of the Prophet. From Rib'i, from one of the companions. From one of the companions of the Prophet. The companion is not mentioned. Peace be upon of the Prophet. God's peace and blessings be upon him, that they had sighted the moon the previous evening. They had sighted the moon the previous evening. The messenger of God, God's peace and blessings be upon him, ordered the people to break the fast and go to the place of Eid, prayer. So, as you can see, the other narration says that Rib'i ibn Khirash, he heard from one of the companions of the Prophet who said, the people were fasting on the last day of Ramadan. When two Bedouins came. Forgive me. Okay, the narration is, he heard from one of the companions. The companions is unnamed. That companion told him that two Bedouins, when two Bedouins stood up, two desert Arabs, two nomads, they stood up and testified. They testified to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that they had sighted the moon the previous evening. So they said, we saw the moon last night. We spotted the moon. The messenger of God, God's peace and blessings be upon him, ordered the people to break the fast and go to the place of Eid prayer, So on the following day, the Prophet said, break your fast. Do not fast. We're going to pray Eid. That's what happened. So, anyway, timing is great. And we got a good message across. I hope you guys learned from this. We will continue our journey. I feel like these shorter videos are probably more. I know I went up like by 2 minutes, but it's okay. Are more, they pack more of a punch. So let's, we'll continue that. And I hope you learned something more importantly than anything. So until next time, which will be, God willing, will be tomorrow. Forgive me, guys, I've been occupied. But I really want to get this. Inshallah, God willing, we're going to get it done by the end of the month. But most importantly is that you learned. This is my goal here. So let's learn. Let's get our knowledge where it belongs. It belongs in the heart and in the mind, and let's apply it, God willing. Okay. Anyway, we'll continue next time. If you're about to have iftar like me, then enjoy your iftar. If it's nighttime, enjoy your night. Whatever the case may be well, be happy. Do what it is that you want to do, provided it's not sinful. Until the next time we meet, peace be with you, and always peace be with you. Thanks for watching.